In an era marked by escalating political tensions, the Trump administration is undertaking a sweeping assault on the Democratic Party's operational framework, aiming to undermine its financial and organizational foundations in a move that could reshape the landscape of American politics for years to come. The administration's actions, which have been characterized by critics as an abuse of power, involve targeted investigations into Democratic fundraising entities and law firms, as well as threats to revoke the tax-exempt status of nonprofits aligned with the left. President Trump and his allies are engaged in a calculated campaign to dismantle the mechanisms that support the Democratic Party and its progressive allies. This campaign has seen the White House identifying key targets within the Democratic ecosystem. According to sources familiar with the administration's strategy, a small group of White House officials is reportedly working to compile a list of vulnerabilities to exploit, informed by research from conservative watchdogs like the Capitol Research Center. Scott Walter, the organization's president, has provided briefings on the financial networks that underpin Democratic success, including the ActBlue donation platform, which is critical to Democratic fundraising efforts across the nation. The administration's approach echoes Trump's previous grievances against perceived political enemies, as he has openly stated intentions to seek retribution against those he views as adversaries. This strategy has intensified with the involvement of high-profile allies, including billionaire entrepreneur Elon Musk. Musk has publicly expressed concerns about ActBlue and other organizations, suggesting they may be involved in illicit activities. His comments, however, have often lacked substantiation. Representatives from ActBlue have categorically denied any wrongdoing. As investigations into ActBlue gain traction, congressional Republicans have begun laying the groundwork for deeper inquiries. Senator Ted Cruz has signaled intentions to probe the organization, further suggesting it may be exposed to criminal liability. The consequences of these inquiries could be profound, as they threaten to disrupt the Democratic Party's primary fundraising apparatus at a time when it is already navigating a challenging political climate. Critics, including Cole Leiter from Americans Against Government Censorship, warn that the breadth of these efforts constitutes an unprecedented assault on political opposition. They argue that the current tactics being employed could severely cripple the ability of Democrats to effectively campaign and organize in future elections. The breadth is breathtaking, Leiter states, highlighting the existential threat these actions pose to the Democratic Party's operational integrity. White House spokesperson Harrison Fields has dismissed concerns over the administration's intentions, stating that Democrats are self-destructing due to their policies rather than any external actions taken by the Trump administration. However, this defense does little to mitigate the fears among Democrats that their institutional capabilities are under siege. The unfolding scene is not merely about politics. It is an ongoing struggle over the very nature of governance and the use of state power against political adversaries. President Trump's actions raise significant ethical questions about the application of federal resources in political battles, particularly as he has been accused of blurring the lines between the official duties of the presidency and personal vendettas against those who have opposed him. As the Trump administration continues to press forward with its investigations and initiatives aimed at dismantling democratic structures, the potential for backlash among liberal constituencies grows. The ramifications of this political warfare could redefine the electoral battleground, potentially galvanizing Democratic voters in response to what they perceive as an unfair and aggressive assault on their party. Looking ahead, the fallout from these actions will likely shape the 2026 midterm elections and beyond. Whether the Democrats can successfully rally their base and counteract these threats remains to be seen, but the current landscape suggests a brewing storm that could significantly alter the dynamics of American political discourse. As both parties prepare for the upcoming electoral battles, the lines are drawn, and the stakes have never been higher. In a day marked by political turbulence, former President Donald Trump has made headlines with a series of controversial actions and statements igniting debates across various spheres, from judicial independence to international humanitarian efforts. With the nation still grappling with the ramifications of his past presidency, Trump's recent moves signal a potential reshaping of U.S. policy and governance. Despite a stern warning from Chief Justice John Roberts regarding the necessity of respecting judicial integrity, Trump persisted in his attacks on a federal judge overseeing a case involving him. This ongoing confrontation raises significant concerns about the erosion of trust in the judicial system. Judges should not be subjected to political pressure from any quarter, Roberts stated, emphasizing the critical role of judiciary independence in a functioning democracy. Trump's dismissive response has intensified discussions about the implications for the rule of law in America, particularly as he continues to navigate legal challenges stemming from his previous administration. In another striking development, Trump announced the termination of a program aimed at tracking the mass abduction of Ukrainian children, a program that drew attention due to its humanitarian implications amid the ongoing conflict in Ukraine. Critics argue that this decision reflects a broader trend of disengagement from international humanitarian responsibilities. "The world is watching how we respond to crises," said a representative from a prominent human rights organization. By abandoning this program, the U.S. risks sending a message that it does not prioritize the welfare of vulnerable populations. The decision has sparked outrage among advocates who argue that protecting children in conflict zones should remain a priority, urging the administration to reconsider its stance. Further complicating the political landscape, Trump's aides have announced plans for new tariffs on imports, which they are dubbing Liberation Day. This initiative could potentially affect trillions in trade, signaling a return to protectionist policies that characterized much of Trump's first term. Economists are divided on the potential consequences, with some warning that such tariffs may lead to increased costs for consumers and strained international relations. While the intention may be to support domestic industries, the broader economic implications could be quite detrimental, remarked an economic analyst. The initiative underscores Trump's commitment to an America First approach regardless of the potential backlash from global partners. As the political landscape continues to shift, Trump's actions invite a deeper examination of the future of U.S. governance and its role on the world stage. His recent decisions and rhetoric not only highlight a return to familiar themes from his presidency but also raise critical questions about the balance of power both domestically and internationally. With the 2024 election cycle on the horizon, the impacts of these developments will likely reverberate through the political discourse, shaping the dynamics of the upcoming campaigns. Observers will be keenly watching how these narratives unfold, as they hold the potential to redefine American political engagement in an increasingly complex global environment. In a significant move that underscores the evolving landscape of private equity investment, an insurer has begun leveraging its extensive financial advisor network to market private market funds. This initiative, reported by the Wall Street Journal, signals a strategic shift as traditional investment avenues become increasingly competitive and complex. By tapping into its established relationships with financial advisors, the insurer aims to broaden its distribution channels and enhance its engagement with high-net-worth individuals who are increasingly seeking alternative investment opportunities. Industry experts note that this approach capitalizes on the growing demand for private market investments, which have gained traction due to their potential for higher returns compared to public markets. According to recent data, private equity has outperformed traditional asset classes over the past decade, attracting both institutional and retail investors eager to diversify their portfolios. The insurer's strategy not only positions it to capture a larger share of this lucrative market but also reflects a broader trend in the financial industry where partnerships between insurers and financial advisors are becoming more commonplace. Meanwhile, on a different front, activist investor Starboard Value is gearing up for a proxy fight at Autodesk, a move that could significantly impact the software company's strategic direction. Starboard, known for its aggressive tactics in pushing for change, aims to challenge Autodesk's management and advocate for a more shareholder-friendly approach. The impending confrontation highlights the ongoing tension between corporate management and activist shareholders, particularly in tech companies where rapid innovation and strategic pivots are essential for maintaining competitive advantage. As these developments unfold, they occur against a backdrop of broader economic concerns, particularly regarding the looming debt ceiling in the United States. The Federal Reserve is reportedly considering adjustments to its portfolio runoff strategy in anticipation of potential fiscal constraints that could disrupt markets. Analysts suggest that any changes made by the Fed could have far-reaching implications for liquidity and interest rates, further complicating the investment landscape for both retail and institutional investors. In addition to these financial dynamics, the political arena is also making headlines as the Trump administration weighs significant cuts to domestic HIV prevention funding. This potential reduction raises concerns among health advocates about the long-term effects on public health initiatives, particularly at a time when comprehensive prevention strategies are crucial for combating the disease. The implications of such cuts could reverberate throughout the healthcare sector, affecting not only funding but also the accessibility of vital health services. As the financial and political landscapes continue to evolve, the coming months will likely reveal how these developments will shape investment strategies and public health policies. Investors and stakeholders must remain vigilant, adapting to the changing dynamics while keeping an eye on the potential consequences of government actions and market trends. The interplay between corporate strategy, investor activism, and policy changes will undoubtedly set the stage for significant shifts in both the financial markets and public health initiatives in the near future. In a dramatic escalation of political tensions in Turkey, authorities have detained Istanbul Mayor Ekrem İmamoğlu, who serves as the primary political adversary to President Recep Tayyip Erdoğan. This move has raised alarms among opposition parties and observers, marking a significant point in Erdoğan's ongoing crackdown on dissent as he navigates a complex political landscape ahead of the next presidential elections scheduled for 2028. İmamoğlu's arrest comes amid allegations of terrorism links, with state media reporting that his detention is part of a broader investigation into potential connections with a pro-Kurdish political group. The Republican People's Party (CHP), which İmamoğlu represents, has vehemently denounced the arrest as an attempted coup, signaling the deepening rift between Erdoğan's government and opposition forces. The timing of the detention is particularly notable, just days before the CHP had planned to announce İmamoğlu as its presidential candidate, a move that could have significantly shifted the political dynamics in Turkey. The implications of İmamoğlu's detention are substantial. Following the announcement, the Turkish lira plummeted by 5% against the dollar and the benchmark BIST 100 index fell by nearly 7% in early trading, reflecting investor concerns over political stability and the potential for further repression. Tomasz Wielodek, an analyst at T. Rowe Price, described the developments as a wake-up call for everybody, indicating that the market's reaction may be indicative of larger concerns regarding Erdoğan's grip on power and the health of Turkey's economy. Dilek İmamoğlu, the mayor's wife, shared that police arrived at their home during the early hours of the day, marking the moment with a deeply personal account of the event. "Hundreds of police are at my door," she relayed, encapsulating the sense of urgency and fear surrounding her husband's detention. In a voice message, İmamoğlu himself asserted this immoral and tyrannical approach will undoubtedly be overturned by the will and resilience of our people, underscoring the resilience of his supporters and the potential for public backlash. As the situation unfolds, the CHP is advocating for the prompt naming of a presidential candidate to pressure the parliament into holding elections sooner than scheduled. The arrest has also led to a ban on demonstrations in Istanbul and restrictions on social media platforms including X, Instagram, and YouTube, further limiting the avenues available for public dissent. Erdoğan's government has faced increasing scrutiny since the 2016 coup attempt, which has paved the way for a more authoritarian approach to governance. The latest developments highlight a broader trend of repression targeting not only political opponents but also journalists, academics, and various sectors of society that challenge the ruling regime. The fallout from İmamoğlu's detention, coupled with the ongoing economic challenges Turkey faces, poses critical questions about the future of democracy in the country and Erdoğan's ability to maintain his long-standing hold on power. As the political landscape continues to evolve, all eyes will be on the opposition's response and the potential for public mobilization against what many perceive as a systemic effort to stifle dissent. The coming weeks will be pivotal not only for Imamoglu and the CHP but also for the fabric of Turkish democracy itself. As citizens and political actors alike grapple with the implications of this escalating political crisis. In an unsettling account that highlights the often opaque and distressing realities of immigration enforcement in the United States, Jasmine Mooney, a Canadian citizen, recently shared her harrowing experience of being detained by U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement ICE for 2 weeks. Her narrative exposes not only the personal trauma endured but also the deeply flawed system that governs immigration detention. Mooney, who hails from Whitehorse, Yukon, moved to Canada's west coast to pursue a career in the health and wellness industry. After successfully obtaining a trade NAFTA work visa, she relocated to California to help launch a health tonic brand. However, the situation took a dire turn upon her re-entry into the U.S. when a border officer questioned her visa history, declaring it shady and revoking her visa on the spot, a shocking decision that would lead to her detention. What followed was a surreal nightmare. Mooney was taken from an immigration office to a detention center without any clear explanation or opportunity to contact legal counsel. She described the experience as feeling like a kidnapping with little information provided about her fate. "I don't understand. What does that mean? For how long?" she recalled asking the officers, receiving "I don't know" as a response to nearly every question over the next 2 weeks. During her time in the detention facility, Mooney encountered women from various backgrounds, all caught in a similarly bewildering limbo. Many had lived in the U.S. legally for years, only to find themselves detained due to visa overstays or bureaucratic errors. The stories she heard reinforced the reality that these women were largely nonviolent individuals trapped in a harsh system that operates more like a business than a humanitarian institution. Facilities like the Otay Mesa Detention Center, where Mooney was eventually moved, are privately operated and profit from the number of detainees they hold. Mooney's experience was a stark reminder of the systemic issues within U.S. immigration policies. She noted how the profit-driven nature of these detention centers, which receive federal funding based on the number of detainees, creates perverse incentives that prioritize financial gain over humane treatment. "Imagine what this system is like for every other person in there," she reflected, highlighting her own relative privilege due to her Canadian citizenship and media attention that ultimately aided in her release. After 2 weeks filled with uncertainty, Mooney was finally released, not without reflecting on the unexpected connection she had formed with the other women during her ordeal. She emphasized the strength and resilience she witnessed in them even in the face of profound suffering. "We were from different countries, spoke different languages, and practiced different religions. Yet in this place none of that mattered," she wrote, revealing a communal spirit that emerged amid adversity. Mooney's account serves as a sobering reminder of the human cost of immigration enforcement. It calls for a re-evaluation of the policies and practices that govern detention, urging those in power to recognize the humanity of individuals caught in this system. As she returned home to Canada, her wish was clear: to spark change and encourage a more compassionate approach to immigration. Looking ahead, Mooney's story highlights the urgent need for reform in the U.S. immigration system, one that treats individuals with dignity and respect rather than as commodities to be processed and discarded. Her experience, while harrowing, underscores the potential for advocacy and change as it shines a light on the experiences of countless others still trapped in similar circumstances. In a stunning turn of events that underscores the ongoing political turbulence in Turkey, authorities have arrested Ekrem İmamoğlu, the mayor of Istanbul and a prominent opposition leader, along with several other figures, amid accusations of corruption and links to terrorism. This development marks a significant escalation in President Recep Tayyip Erdogan's government's crackdown on dissent, which has intensified in the wake of recent electoral setbacks for the ruling party. On Wednesday, Turkish police executed a series of raids detaining İmamoğlu at his home early in the morning. According to state-run Anadolu Agency, prosecutors issued warrants for Imamoglu and approximately 100 others, including his close aide Murat Ongun. The arrests came with a heavy police presence as roads in Istanbul were closed and demonstrations were banned for 4 days to preempt public unrest following Imamoglu's detention. Imamoglu, who emerged as a formidable political rival to Erdogan, expressed his defiance through a video post on social media. "We are facing great tyranny, but I want you to know that I will not be discouraged," he declared, rallying his supporters in the face of mounting pressure. His party, the Republican People's Party (CHP), was poised to nominate him as its candidate for the upcoming presidential elections, a move that could further galvanize opposition to Erdogan's regime. The backdrop of these arrests is a climate of political uncertainty as Erdogan's ruling Justice and Development Party (AKP) has faced increasing challenges, particularly in local elections last year where they suffered significant losses. Critics have argued that the recent legal actions against opposition figures are politically motivated, a claim that government officials vehemently deny, insisting that the judiciary operates independently. The economic ramifications of Imamoglu's arrest were immediate. The Istanbul Stock Exchange's main index plummeted by 7%, prompting a temporary halt in trading to mitigate panic selling. The Turkish lira also took a hit, losing around 7% of its value against the US dollar. Such market volatility reflects the deep-seated concerns among investors regarding political stability in Turkey. Among the charges against Imamoglu are serious allegations of extortion, money laundering, and irregularities related to municipal contracts. He is also accused of having connections to the Kurdistan Workers' Party (PKK), a group designated as a terrorist organization by Ankara and its allies due to its long-standing insurgency within Turkey. This particular accusation raises the stakes significantly as it ties Imamoglu's political future to issues of national security. Compounding the situation, Istanbul University recently invalidated Imamoglu's diploma, effectively disqualifying him from running in future elections, as a university degree is a legal requirement under Turkish law. This development has further fueled claims of a politically motivated campaign to silence one of Erdogan's most significant challengers. CHP chairman Özgür Özel described Imamoglu's detention as an attempted coup against our next president. In the wake of these events, social media platforms in Turkey have reportedly faced access restrictions, raising alarms among digital rights advocates about the government's increasing control over free expression and information dissemination. The implications of Imamoglu's arrest extend beyond immediate political ramifications. They signal a broader strategy by Erdogan to consolidate power as he faces growing dissent. Political analysts suggest that such actions may provoke significant backlash from the public and could lead to increased unrest, especially as calls for early national elections grow louder. As Turkey navigates this turbulent political landscape, the future trajectory of its governance remains uncertain. Imamoglu's ability to mount a robust defense against these charges and maintain his political standing will be critical not only for his future but also for the opposition's chances in the face of an increasingly authoritarian regime. The unfolding situation will undoubtedly be a focal point for both domestic and international observers as Turkey approaches a pivotal electoral period.